So, Maddie,
Yeah.
I've got a sheet of paper in front of me
Yeah.
that you brought from home.
Yeah.
What is? It's just got
Penis
lines-
is drawn.
lines all over it. It's just a picture of
They're
you.
not pictures. I traced them. I brought it in because we weren't sure what episode we were going to do because of Rhys, you and Brendan are watching it on Stan, Mitch and I are watching it on DVD.
I actually got rid of Stan, so I'm watching it on my DVD.
Oh, so that's what.
Oh,
So
we
just
have we got another mess, like another mix around like the other week?
yeah,
Yeah.
like Fifth Race and Matter of Time.
So there's two lists of each of like the list of episode on the left and a list of episode on the right.
Yeah. So you and Brendan on Stan were doing the one on the left, which means we would technically be doing Holiday now. And then with Mitch and I's DVDs is the list on the right where we would actually be doing Serpent Song and then Holiday. So I did some research into it, and basically Mitch and I seem to have the official like MGM Showtime release schedule.
Of course we do.
Right.
What you guys got was basically when the States shipped it over to the UK to broadcast it over there, because they don't take the mid-year break like the States do, Sky One, which is a British channel over there, just played them all in one hit and kind of swapped the orders around and stuff.
Yeah, right.
So I'd say, and that's what's on IMDb, and that's what's on Wikipedia.
So basically-
and that's what Stan have as well.
So basically, they've just switched the episodes, taken the bush out of episode 1, and sent it out.
Pretty much,
Yep.
yeah. But I did look into it, and in terms of like chronology and any plot points coming through, it doesn't matter what order you watch them in because
Yeah.
there's one plot point at the end of Serpent Song that doesn't factor in until Show and Tell. So we're good either way. So
Yeah.
Nice.
what do we want to do?
Go
Serpent.
buy the DVDs.
All right, let's do that.
Get Into Geek. This is episode 38. We are talking Stargate SG-1. We are the full Get Into Geek team. My name is Mitch. Joining me, as always, Matty Gibson.
Yo.
Brennan Gibson.
G'day.
And Rhys Gibson.
Oh, hi.
If you are new to Get Into Geek, we are three veterans, Matty, Brendan, and I. Mitch, talking to Rhys, who is new to the show. We are looking back at each and every episode, one per week, and just breaking down the show. Rhys looking at it through fresh eyes. And just loving everything Stargate SG-1, which, of course, only, 2 weeks ago celebrated its 20th anniversary.
Absolutely.
Ridiculous. And we celebrated a 1 year anniversary. It's been a year since we've started doing this.
It's like
since I started watching it.
just shy of being as important as the 20th anniversary of SG-1. So
It does accentuate though how far behind we are because we've been doing it for a year, so we should be on episode 52 and we're on episode
none of that.
30.
We don't have to know. No one needs to know about that, mate.
We took a hiatus.
Yeah. We got about
Season
7,
1 and 2.
We got 7 episodes in. We have earned a 3-month break.
Well, that's what they do.
How do you top the knocks? I mean, really?
Whew, we need to lay down
You need
for winter.
a couple of weeks off before you can really watch politics.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on now.
That's
No,
what
that's
happens.
a good point. Yeah.
No, you need a couple of weeks, then watch it, then a couple of weeks. to
Yeah,
recover.
after
recovery.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
recovery. Yeah.
Good call.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to respond. I'm going to react.
You've defended all you can defend. As we always do, we're going to go back to the synopsis as provided to us by the DVD of the late 90s. So episode 17 of season 2, this one is written by none other than Catherine Powers, directed by Peter DeLuise. Peter
Yes.
DeLuise.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Welcome, Peter DeLuise, and welcome back, Catherine Powers.
It's
That's
the
just
A-team.
that's just the studio audience we've got in here with
Oh,
us.
they're still
Thanks for coming,
excited.
guys.
They're
Cheers.
still excited. They're still going.
Mate. Someone get that phone off him.
Let it die down naturally. Oh, there. Okay.
No, we need the Daryl Summers cut.
All right, SG-1's archenemy Apophis is dying and seeks sanctuary with O'Neill. But what he really wants is a new host in exchange for his knowledge of the Goa'uld. Will O'Neill grant his request or send him back to the Goa'uld to face his fate?
Well, it's not up to O'Neill. It's up to Hammond.
No, and I don't think he's looking for sanctuary with O'Neill. What are they going to do?
No.
Just
Yeah.
ride off into the sunset?
I feel,
gonna
like,
go
I feel
fishing.
like even if you've seen one episode of Stargate, you can read that synopsis and go, well, clearly he's going to say no.
Yeah. Well, this comes to my first point earlier in the Tok'ra. This is the perfect time to pull someone off death row and go, there you go. Now give us all your information.
Yes, this
know?
is what I
Yeah.
wrote down. This is my last sort of.
Yeah, but and then kill him.
Absolutely. Electrocute that.
Wow.
Well, Rhys, you have watched this for the first time, and it's Apophis. It's the big bad so far of SG-1. How surprised were you to see him
The big
in a crash
reveal.
collider?
Oh my god! When he turned around and it was his face, I'm like, no way! What the hell? You've got him! You've got him!
I was
You've got
worried
him.
you weren't going to recognise him because you didn't recognise Sharae straight away when she appeared at the start of Secrets. So I was like,
Yeah.
and he's kind of messed up and he's wearing silver,
Yeah.
not gold. And I'm like, oh, is Rhys going to notice him?
Yeah,
Notice him or
no,
not?
I couldn't believe it. I'm just like,
Kill him too. Kill him.
he's-
Kill him. Kill him.
yeah, get him! Like you've got 4-on-1. He's injured. There's no backup around. Like that's it. You got him. And then they did. They got him through the gate, and I'm just like, this is going to be a sick episode.
So good, so good.
And then, only a couple of minutes later, Carter mentioned Jolnar, and it just brings you right back down to earth.
Yeah,
Bloody J-bomb.
yeah.
No, it was very, very cool, and actually like opened it up to a very cool little action sequence because we've seen a lot of gliders and stuff, but there was that one really cool shot where they're sort of dialing the gate, they're running back toward it once it opens up, and there's gliders going between them and the gate just over top, like it's a real skirmish going around.
and it does that hover
The hover, yeah,
over,
that was
over the
cool.
DHD while Jack's like backing up.
Yeah.
To the
See
gate.
Standoff.
that for me was purely just to show off a cool effect because he's there running back through the gate and he turns around, waits for it to sort of like hover down, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm going to take on this giant alien aircraft with my machine gun."
But it's like they used up a lot of the stock shots early on,
Yeah.
so that they could afford to do that.
And then for him to like just to walk backward through the gate and you sort of go back, you see that wormhole effect in reverse.
Yeah.
That looked awesome.
Yeah.
And then to cut to what I always love, which is seeing like debris come through the Stargate as well,
Yeah.
like just dust
Yeah.
particles
That
flying
was so
across the
dangerous.
galaxy.
It's
Yeah.
lucky the glider pilot didn't like
Shoot
fire
straight like a
directly through the
stormtrooper.
gate, and it would have gone straight through the glass in the SGC and
Yeah.
just taken Hammond out. Just
Absolutely.
boom.
Yeah, they just replaced that glass the other
They
week.
don't. They really don't close those blast doors enough, do they?
No.
No.
They've got cameras, so they can see in there. So
Yeah.
it's a bit weird.
Well, and you think with Teal'c running through the gate already with Apophis, plus Daniel and Sam, but like
Yeah.
a solid sort of 5 or 6 seconds before Jack was through, you think
Yeah.
it would have been like,
Oh shit!
red alert,
Yeah,
guys.
you think they'd do that as a safety process every time someone comes back through the
Yeah.
gate? Hey,
If the
just in
iris
case.
is open,
Because if the blast door's down and this is your first time in the
Yeah.
embarkation room, then you wouldn't know where the computers or where it's all being controlled. But as soon as you walk through, you look up and there it is. You know
Yeah.
exactly
I guess
where it is.
my mum always used to get cranky at me because when I'd take the bin out, I'd use the electric garage door. She's like, "You're wasting power." So imagine every time they move down the blast doors, it'd be $2 billion power bill.
Yeah, Hammond's mum would get angry at him.
Now, Rhys, you're such a massive fan of Teal'c. I imagine you would have got a kick out of, especially the start of this episode when, like you said, they've got Apophis, they've got him back. He's like tied up, in a hospital bed in the
Yeah.
infirmary, and I think it was actually in the debriefing room, and he's just sitting there every time Teal'c said something, and he's got a very small word economy, Teal'c. But whenever he said a line in the room about what it meant to get Apophis and what that would mean for the rest of the Goa'uld and the effects of it, he ended every line with this tiny little smirk. Like he
Yeah.
was so
He
jacked
loved it.
because of that. He was like, "I've finally got this prick."
There's another
Yeah.
there's another scene later on where when Teal'c and Sam go to see Apophis right before he has his big sort of confrontation with Apophis.
Yeah.
And Apophis is writhing around in pain, and Sam's kind of like, "Oh, how do I react to this?" And Teal'c is legit just
Yeah.
reveling and
Yeah.
just enjoying, just smiling, and just
What do you say? I've waited many years for this moment.
Yeah, I think actually when she left the room and he's standing there at the foot of the bed, his arms
Yeah.
behind his back, and as she got out of shot, Teal'c went from just being sort of deadpan, just smirk come on his face. He's
Yeah.
like,
And he
Hello.
does that. He does that clenching of the jaw thing, where it's
Yeah,
just
where you see
over
the
and over
muscle and
again.
the jawbone thing.
And you just see the anger just frothing in him. I thought that was so cool, man. How he's just like, yeah, we'll celebrate this day
Yeah, it will
that
be a
you're
holy
dead.
day.
Be a holiday and true luck.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Now, I remember watching, even many times that I've watched this episode since I started watching the show, it always starts off for me as a little bit of, I don't like this. And I think this goes back, it's a memory of the first time I watched it, because it's season 2, only episode 17. All of a sudden, here's the big bad so far. You're like, how can he not be killed? Or
Yeah.
he's dying anyway. Are we going to say goodbye to the big bad of the series so far, less than 2 seasons into its run? Really? Like,
Yeah.
it's like disappointment from the start, just because I'm assuming how this episode is going to end. And you said something great, Brendan, too, is that find another host and and put the snake in him so they can get this information. Because for me, I love the fact that the actor playing Apophis is lying in this bed, delivering lines, basically saying, "Recast me! Recast me!" Yeah. Like, how are you doing? Like, you're reading the script and you're like, "Oh, wow, they've captured him. Wonder where this is going to go. I need a new host." No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Oh, he's getting old. He's getting old. Yeah. They're f***ing writing me out. You motherfuckers! Trooper! You motherfuckers! It's Catherine. Okay, Catherine, look, I forgive you, but we've got to work some shit out.
Yeah, but then he sees Ahsoka has a sarcophagus. Yes, I'm back, baby! Yes, there's a chance! So he's just like as nice as possible on set, not to piss anybody off. He's like nice to the craft service people, you know, he's just everyone on set
But
just so he gets invited back.
And then he fell down the elevator shaft.
He says Sholva, like no one else.
Sholva
Like no one else can do that.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. Not even bloody Morgan Freeman could do it as good.
Nah, he's got that down.
And
he can pronounce the apostrophe somehow.
Yeah.
And it's the way that he includes the word in a sentence that otherwise doesn't need it. Like when he's sitting there, he's dying, he's aging at a phenomenal rate, and Teal'c's there saying, "I've waited this day, for this day for so long." Meanwhile, you've got Sokar who's out there, ready to come in and attack them or at least destroy the base. And Apophis says, "I will die happy. As long as I know that I'm dying with you next to me, Sholva." Yeah. Like, he doesn't need to say Sholva, but it's like, even not...
Venom.
Yeah, how raw that is, and what an insult it must be to someone like Teal'c.
I hated the fact that Frasier basically made Teal'c look like a fool when Teal'c's like, don't treat him. Like, we'll let him suffer in pain, and then when he's ready to talk, we'll... And then she's like, "Teal'c, get out of the way.
Teal'c, step away
I'm
from
just
the
like,
bed."
You bitch, get the... If Teal'c tells you to fuck off, you fuck off.
Yeah, she was very steadfast.
I hate her now.
She was very steadfast in her Hippocratic oath. She was real, like, when at one point when...
she almost rolled her eyes.
Take your hypocritical oath and shove it.
Well, and when, Hammond says, "Okay, we'll stop treating him," she's like, "That will effectively end his life."
Yeah.
Like, no shit, that's what we're planning on.
He's my patient.
Oh, really? Because he's also the destroyer of a lot of lives.
Yeah.
Not to mention the host.
Yeah.
Who's actually, 2,000-year-old host.
Oh,
just
wasn't that cool?
I love that.
You feel so sorry for him immediately.
Yeah.
Because he's screaming out in a high voice and he's language. Yeah, calling out for his family and shit. You're just like, oh, dude. And then when they Jackson sits there and breaks it down for you, just full exposition. If you don't already get it through, I guess the action on the bed is that the action on the bed, not really. Whew, nearly got myself into trouble there. But he's going, he's lived a nightmare for thousands of years. Imagine being a prisoner inside your own body. And you're like, I know that's what it is, but while I'm looking at a guy suffering, and then you're telling me that while I'm looking at that actually does really enforce how much it must really blow to be a bloody host.
Literally thousands of years, because it's established that Apophis' host is of Earth. Yeah. He was a priest at the Temple of Karnak or whatever they said. So obviously Apophis has had that host since before Ra left.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. So
before they buried the gate.
Yeah, so literally thousands of years he's been in that host.
Or if you listen to the DVD, 1,000 centuries.
1,000 centuries buried in the sands of Egypt.
And feel for his poor family. Like, he just ducked out for a quick prayer. Never returned.
Oh, Jesus. Going to get ciggies, guys.
Well,
my dad's an asshole.
I guess that's the problem. I guess that's the problem when you got to go and pray.
He just left and didn't come back.
Yeah. Classic.
Now he says he's a god.
Oh, well.
Oh, good gear.
So, obviously, the great and powerful Catherine Powers is back. And I did promise you guys something. Remember, we found her IMDb profile picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you it was very, very similar to a picture of my dear mother.
Yes.
Well, I happen to have brought in a little surprise for you.
Put your pants back on.
It'll be the first time in 38 episodes. So I've done a little side-by-side here, so I want you guys to tell me, because it's been a while since you guys have seen that picture. So I'm interested to see...
Oh, that picture, yeah.
You guys can figure out which one is Catherine Powers. We might put this up on our socials, and if you guys can figure out which one is Catherine Powers and which one is my mother.
I hope they both have blue dresses on.
They're actually wearing the same dress, but it's not blue.
Oh my
Oh my
god!
God.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, if I didn't have that picture in my wallet, I wouldn't know who was
Of
who.
my mum.
that's true.
Oh, no, Catherine. Wow.
Oh my
Whichever
God.
one of those is my mother, no joke, there is a probably meter-high portrait of that right as you walk in the entryway of her house. It's been there since I was about 10.
That's glorious.
Same photographer. by the look.
Conveniently, it was about 2 or 3 weeks after my parents' divorce, so I feel like it was a bit of a, it was an upper for her. She was just trying to, it was her Stella gets her groove back moment.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can I get this?
It never goes where I think it's going to. I can never.
Oh, spent 20 years with the bloke, mate.
Rhys is done. I've never seen Rhys that far gone. He's out. He's done.
Jump on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll pop up that photo. Now, hey, you know what? We also did promise. Remember, we made a promise that...
Hang on, I think we need to have a break.
Look at this. It's just so, you're just so. She's like, oh yeah, you cannot get this.
You cannot get this.
Welcome back to Get Into Geek. We just had to go and change our shorts after that one. That was good.
Whoa. We're just talking about
Here I was trying to clean it up.
yeah, come on, man. Come on, man.
You did clean mine up well.
Think about the edit.
Well, we did promise. Well, actually, first of all, you can jump on our socials if you haven't already. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We've got that side by side shot up for you to check out. But we did actually promise. The last time we spoke about Catherine Powers, we joked that as a prize for Get Into Gate, that we would actually make up a portrait of Catherine Powers from her IMDb photo and give it away to somebody. I think we actually did say though that we would do up two. One would be Catherine Powers, the other one would be your mother.
Yeah.
And we would never tell the winners which one they actually got. And we were going to sign them both.
Yeah, absolutely.
So out there would be a signed photo of Maddie's mum with Brendan's signature on it. So, if you...
Another one.
just contact us, Get Into Gate, if you would like to win a prize, obviously. I mean, who wouldn't want that? But you said at the start of the app, Bren, about, it's not so much bad security, but just the fact that they don't drop, the blast doors very often, all that.
Yeah.
My problem with this was the iris. Like, they always start from the iris being open. They always have to tell people to close the iris. It's never that it's already closed. What's the threat? Well, we don't know. Okay, keep it shut.
I think they remedy that later on, but
Yeah.
it's quite annoying when you're like, guys, something's coming through.
Because for me, it's basically like they've established in the actual center, the command center themselves, it looks so much sexier when the iris isn't there. Like, I just want to know that when people come to our house and they see that, like, that it looks as good as it can. The iris there, it doesn't look welcoming. We've got this big metallic sharp door there.
Serious feng shui issues.
Yeah. Like, that's precious time. Like, there is an alien threat coming through and they have to press the button and it takes 2 seconds. Like, that's a precious 2 seconds.
The issue I had most with the opening sequence was, Mitch, if you got the pictures there that I attached.
Yeah.
Daniel's super effeminate, sitting on the gates on the planet, waiting for Apophis to arrive. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
He's just like sitting out like Jar Jar Gabor or Cleopatra or something like that.
He's like, the director's like, okay, we're going to do a distance shot, but we need to put a microphone somewhere. Let's hide it behind Shanksy. If you can sit like
We've
this,
done
that'd
that
be great.
before.
There's there's
Remember
one of those light shields there just bouncing light up into Jack so you can see him under the hat or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
has to be. But yeah, whoever blocked that was like, would have been Peter DeLuise.
Yeah.
Shanksy, lie down.
I feel like it was a bit of a stitch up, like he did it just to have a bit of fun with the shot and expecting Shanksy to go, I'm not going to lie like this. And Shanksy was like, yeah, whatever.
So Apophis got tortured by his people.
Super hard.
Yeah, and obviously, as they said, the downfall was when they blew up his ships, basically.
Oh, yeah. Season
he's
premiere.
Lost the whole army.
Yeah, he's lost everything.
SG-1 basically caused him to just lose his crown, more or less.
Yeah, start his downfall.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. And because of that torture, his little wormy in his brain has deteriorated. And then that led to his... do you think that led to the host coming back through and starting to talk ancient Egyptian? Or do you reckon it was just...
I think it was he was in such pain
Yeah.
that the symbiote
Shut
basically passed out.
Yeah.
But
Just
the
couldn't-
host didn't.
Couldn't contain control. I guess
Yeah.
in the same
Yeah.
way Amunet sort of chose to sleep,
Yeah.
you know, to save the baby, so that and obviously the Tok'ra have reinforced that the Goa'uld can, you know, recess when they need to. So I feel like he just didn't have the strength to keep control for the first time in obviously probably thousands of years, that the host was able to sort of, you know, emerge from this.
I can't say how much I love that enough. That's
so good.
And
Like,
it was so little.
yeah, I mean,
Such a little bit.
I was so in love with the Skara Chlorel back and forward in the first season, but I feel like this just took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And the fact that Daniel was he was pretty cruel to
Oh, he's
Apophis as
cold,
well.
man.
There was some heat there. But then as soon as the host emerged, you know, he was translating, he gave him his last rites.
Yeah.
He was turned and was just so soft and accommodating. I was just I don't think if I was in such a ridiculous situation, like the heightened situation, it's like, could you really separate that in your mind? I mean, to him, that's always been Apophis. That's the face of the man who
Yeah.
kidnapped and raped his wife, basically,
Yeah.
and still has her somewhere.
I think the only argument I could have against that is that his hope is that the host survives. So he believes that Shara is still alive. So then essentially that is two people, that is two beings.
And I guess
in
if
one.
the host of Apophis can be reached and saved, then anybody could, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you reckon Apophis' grandstanding, like, do you think he really, as a last ditch effort, go, okay, I'm going to die, I'm going to set up the Tari to die with me? Do you, like, that's what he basically said his plan was?
Yeah.
Do you reckon that was it, or do you think secretly he was like, well, the only people who are strong enough to protect me from Sokar are the Tory?
Oh, I reckon it was almost like the only people dumb enough to not kill me when they first see me are these guys, because they'll probably want to use me as a prisoner of war. But then once I recuperate or get another host, then I can escape.
I think that's probably what he was betting we'd give him a host.
And the temptation was there from a few people. That's what I love about SGC, is that there's never just one opinion, really.
Yeah.
And there were people willing to do that. Like, hey, well, hang on, there's a lot we could learn. Whereas there's people like Teal'c, like, no, can kill this bloke.
Yeah.
And even O'Neill, like, I don't really care what he could teach us. You know, Daniel obviously having the biggest wrestle, really. It's like, this guy has tortured my wife, but he's also the guy that knows where she is. And
Yeah.
I'm on it. I loved her.
Oh,
You do not believe me.
so angry.
No. No, I don't think that's possible.
How could you? Our minds, our knowledge, our very being is so much greater, so much more.
I know where your child is.
So cold and calculating.
calm,
and
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
My son.
Yes. I brought him into the world with my own hands. On Abydos.
He was taken by Heru.
No. By me.
Pretty arch music, though.
Yeah.
That gets the point across.
Terrible.
I have no use for the child now. I'm on it. I knew the moment I laid eyes on her, she was a vessel for a queen.
If you don't tell me where she is, I'll kill you right here.
You have neither the strength nor the will.
I love that last
He's
word.
right.
Yeah.
And it's
But
like,
that's the thing. Like when he was saying that, I'm like, oh, he's just trying to get under Daniel's skin. But then when he was in that much pain and he was shouting out, "Amunet, Amunet," I'm like, oh, dang, he actually loves her.
yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
full on.
Did you notice something though? At the start, he says, "Amunet, I loved her." So do you reckon? I'm just asking Rhys. Do you reckon she's still alive?
She did.
Yeah.
Given that the last time we saw them, they left together as a pair in secrets. They left Abydos as a pair, still together.
Yeah, I figured it. He was accepting his own death.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it.
I looked at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, that's good.
But when they talked about that sarcophagus, and because they said it twice. When they said it the first time, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They can heal him. And then they talked about it the second time after they pushed him through the gate, and I'm like, oh well, he's dead, and then old mate's like, nah, they've got to suffocate. They'll bring him back, and then I'm like, oh dang.
And just torture him
Like,
over and over.
What was the whole point of having him in there to die slowly? Like, you could have just murdered him and thrown him back, taking some stress off your shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Fraser really didn't do her job properly.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was
she?
kind of that clincher at the end that the Tok'ra kind of just dropped at the last minute. And it's like, I feel like because I guess to this point, SG-1 has only known that the sarcophagus can heal, not that it can bring you back from the dead. So it's like, well, if they'd known that, I don't think they would have actually...
Didn't Sha'Rah die in the movie?
I don't know if she was dead, or if she'd just been hit with a blast and was gravely injured, was going to die.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I thought that too, because they didn't mention that, like you said, they didn't mention it till he was gone and through, and they're like, oh no, by the way, they can bring him back from the dead.
Yeah.
Because the Tok'ra wanted them to send him back, like, you don't realise how much trouble you're going to be in.
Yeah, so after you sort of think it, you go, okay, well, the Tok'ra don't care whether you send him through alive or dead. But I guess from the SGC's point of view, like, well, if we send him through dead, we know that he's done and he's not going to be an issue anymore.
Yeah, not going to get tortured.
Whereas, because they didn't think that he could be brought back to life. So now it's like, oh, well, you know, we could have sent him through alive.
Yeah.
But they thought, okay, well, if he's dead, we can't get information out of him. He's useless. Yeah. Not knowing that, well, he's potentially going to come back.
Do you think there was an element at all from the SGC's point of view that, like, at least the way I took it, it was just, I don't know whether it was because of the way they were acting rather than what was actually presented to us dialogue-wise or anything, but when, you know, Martouf said to them, oh no, they've got a sarcophagus, they'll just bring him back and they'll just torture him for eternity and kill him and bring him back and torture him and things, and they sort of looked really like, oh damn. And now that you're saying that, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it's because he's still a potential threat or whatever. But for me, it was almost like they'd come to accept that there was still a person behind Apophis, that they were condemning that guy to even more torture than he'd already been under for thousands of years. And for me, I'm like, oh, it's so strange that when Martouf said, oh, surely you think that's a just punishment. This is what he deserves. And I'm like, well, as a race, the Tok'ra are very much about being a symbiotic relationship between Goa'uld and between host. How could they not sympathise with the fact that there is, of course, a host remaining behind Apophis that is also going to suffer this fate? But that was the way that I was thinking about it. I didn't consider it the way that you've just said it, Matty, that, no, they were just thinking of it from a point of view that, oh, no, now he can continue to be a threat. Interesting too, I know we spoke about it with A Matter of Time last week, that they kind of really affirmed that, okay, 38 minutes is the window, the longest the window can stay open. Yeah. And then tonight, when Sokar had, you know, dialed in, was starting to heat up the iris, and they're like, oh, how long can they hold it open? Well, the longest a Goa'uld has ever opened up a wormhole was 38 minutes. I'm like, didn't we sort of canonize this last week? Yeah. And then it lasted 38 minutes and it ended, and then they fired it up again. They're like, oh, I guess, yeah, we've got to wait another 38 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
And didn't Carter find a way to fast dial the gate really quickly? Like 20 minutes, she's like, yeah, I've done it. Like, why didn't you do that before? Like, come on, man.
It's like think about all the energy we're using to dial up this thing. We're going to be dialing up a hell of a lot quicker, and only now you're thinking of it.
I'm not sure if last week they said the words 38 minutes. They just said, I think Hammond said, I thought there was a limit to how long a wormhole could be open for. And I think there, but for the grace of God was the only time they mentioned 38 minutes.
Yeah, right. Okay,
So I feel like they do over the next season and a half, I think, really hammer that home to the point where it's real common knowledge. Because I think there are, like this episode, certain aspects that really revolve around that being set in stone. It's something that's it's in world that it can't be changed. You know, that's what a gate is, except for
and they should totally call an episode that, Matty.
It's such a cool number too. Like 38 minutes. It's not 35 or 40. Not rounding it up for human the way that we break up time or anything like that. Yeah. And it's not 42 like, you know, like an episode. Like it's not the length of an hour's worth of TV. You know, minus the ads sort of thing.
Star Trek use 47. That's
right.
That's one.
Oh, damn it!
Yeah.
But yeah, that's they have 47 as their sort of
recurring. What the hell was that?
Well, that apparently is from Star Trek. I don't know. I've never watched it. But our mutual friend Matty, Ben Clayton, I'm telling him about our Get Into Gate chats and said that you always bring up Star Trek, and that we've got a rule. If you are new to Get Into Gate, Matty loves Star Trek as well. But if he brings it up 3 times, I switch your mic off. You're done
That's
for the
it.
podcast.
I'm red carded for the episode.
Yeah.
I'm in the sin bin.
And so, I don't know, there's some alien or something else in Star Trek that says hardly enough, that's 1, that's 2, and I've got a that's 3.
Yeah.
And then something, a little bit of extra flavour at the end that really says you're done for the podcast. But, Maddie.
That's 1.
Okay.
DS9 Season 5.
That's 2.
The Darkness of the Light.
Damn it!
That's 3.
No, come on! That was part of the same one!
I
Not
feel like I
according to
broke it
us.
up.
You heard the That's 2 play. And then
That's
you
your
kept-
warning. Okay, that's a warning.
That's how it's rolling. All right?
Yeah.
So you know.
That's it. You're done.
You got one left.
It's a hard room.
What else I loved about what else I loved about this episode, Brendan? Because I know you said over the last couple of weeks that you don't like Earth episodes. This was an Earth episode, save for that start.
Yeah,
And
did you like it,
but it,
idiot?
it really doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like it, does it?
No.
Jesus!
Like Maddie said, tough room.
Just the idiot. Just like, yeah, did you like it? Idiot!
No, I'm used to that.
That's for the haircut comment a
my
couple
brother,
of weeks
yeah.
ago.
For me, if it's on base, I don't consider it as like an Earth. For me, an Earth episode is going out and dealing with Kenzie and all that
Yeah, right.
shit.
It's like an international airport. It's just like neutral ground.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
I figure if they're on the base, like there's a lot of base ones that are awesome. Like, for example, Window of Opportunity. That's a base episode, and that's one of the best episodes of the whole series. So, yeah, it's only when they kind of go off and have to worry about external politics that it makes me just fall asleep.
Don't say that word.
Yeah, politics was
Yeah.
a base episode.
Yeah,
Loved
politics,
it.
falling aslead.
It was a base episode though, so
I'm pretty sure it was just a flashback episode.
it all happened on base. So it's got to be by that. It's got to be better than any Earth episode, doesn't it? Sorry, I'm just bogging us down now.
I wouldn't have thought so.
So have we heard from Sokar previously?
No, he's brand new.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it's they start talking to him like he's familiar, but
Yeah,
can't remember.
I think the first time it threw me off a little bit too, but yeah, and then they're back and forth a little bit, I think.
Well, they
as
give us plenty of backstory on him.
Sokar is a Goa'uld of ancient times. He was once ruler of the System Lords, but was defeated by an alliance of Goa'uld many centuries ago. Apophis and Ra were among his conquerors.
Where did he go?
Apophis himself believed him destroyed. Obviously, he was mistaken.
Well, if he was almost wiped out, how bad could he be now?
It's the most Teal'c said in a while.
Yeah.
His name's also very old in Earth mythology. He was the most feared deity in ancient Egypt, the original god of death.
Got anything a little more up to date?
Well, I don't know what he's been up to lately, but according to the Book of the Dead, there was a time he ruled all of Earth. His lands around Memphis were covered by darkness and inhabited by serpents.
Unas,
coincidence?
the first host of the Goa'uld.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if
makes
the Unas were the first ones, there had to have been a time when both form of Goa'uld hosts coexisted, Unas and human. Kind of like Neanderthal.
Which is he?
I don't know, but his portion of Tuat, or the other world, was filled with lakes of fire where the wicked were thrown into as punishment after torture and mutilation.
Hell.
Yeah, basically he was the original Satan.
Oh, isn't that special?
I don't think I appreciated that whole setup there. That here I am talking about being 17 episodes into season 2, they're potentially killing off the big bad. That's really setting up the next big bag.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I rewatched it for this episode, for this podcast, I really didn't appreciate that could
Yeah.
have potentially set up,
And this is the
killing off Apophis and then setting up Sokar.
This is and obviously setting up as being more imposing, given that he's the one that tortured and killed Apophis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and existed from the start,
And he's the
Yeah.
devil.
the ruler. Yeah.
And I never noticed this before. This is the first time I've in the 20 odd times I've watched this episode. They are kind of trying to set up that Sokar may in fact be an Unas.
Yeah.
What they set up there, and just when I was sort of reading some trivia on the episode, the image that he projects sort of onto the iris, I always just assumed that as being like a devil image or whatever, but apparently it was based on an Unas.
Yeah.
So they're really laying down this heavy, because I guess at this stage the only time we've seen an Unas is Thor's
Turtle
hammer.
Jones.
Yeah.
So potentially we're going to get to see a Goa'uld with an Unas host.
Ooh, baby.
Which
I like
could be
that.
interesting.
Because, I mean, it begs the question, like, why did they change from Unas to human?
Because they're egomaniacs. They're vain. So they
Yeah.
figured,
And the human women are a lot hotter than the Unas women.
Yeah.
So.
Well, speak for yourself.
Oh, and did you see, Rhys? I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. Did you see at the end when the Tok'ra are ready to go home, they've got the QWERTY keyboard with all the symbols on it, and Martu just goes, "Tit, tit, 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 tit. That's my address, guys. See you later."
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, a little gadget swap.
yeah, and what she say?
too.
Oh, you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
nowhere where we can find you. He's like, hey, yeah, I'm not giving you my number, baby.
you can contact me through the Tolan.
Yeah. That was so random. I thought, hey, well, you
Yeah.
can contact us through this.
Yeah.
That's Tolan. We're friends with the Tolan and the Tari.
Yeah, didn't
thanks,
say they were
Martu.
friends.
Name dropping. Geez.
Yeah.
Didn't say they were friends with the Nox though. So
No.
the Tolan are friends
Yeah.
with the Nox and the Tok'ra, but the Tok'ra aren't friends with the Nox from the sounds of it.
Arseholes already. Don't like them. If you
Yeah.
don't like the Nox, then get the hell out.
But yeah, that's obviously the last use of a Sagan box, and now the Tok'ra have got a GDO, and we've got the little device. To,
How did the
to
Tok'ra
call
come
them.
to Earth? I can't remember. Did they radio in or something?
No, they dropped the Sagan box. The Sagan box was
Yeah,
given to
they
them at
shut
the
the
end of
iris on it.
Tok'ra.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What's Martooth's symbiote's name?
Lantash.
God, he was an ear cranky little bugger.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that was another great turn when Martooth sort of comes back and everyone's pissed at Lantash and he's like,
Yeah, what's happened?
Yeah. Ew.
"Sorry guys."
Can we yell at him?
It's like when you get drunk and then everyone looks at you the next day and you're like, what?
I don't remember
What
what
happened?
I blacked out. What happened?
I did notice too. The guy who played the Ashrak from In the Line of Duty, the guy that killed Jolinar, he gets a credit in this episode, even though he only appears in that little sort of flashbacky bit.
Oh, really?
He gets a credit.
my God.
Yeah, nice.
Peter Lacroix. He gets a credit on this episode for some
And a
reason.
pay packet, I bet.
Yeah,
Nice.
Wow.
must be a friend of the show.
Yeah.
Hey, before we get out of here, we've got to. It's time for what? It's our monthly mailbag. Although we named it much better to.
Oh, it's time for the Get Into Geek hairy mailbag.
God, that sounds a lot like our other
Monthly.
intro.
Yeah. You a songwriter, Rhys?
Just the one song.
Yeah.
Just
Just the one tune, the
one
one melody.
tune, yeah. Change the lyrics.
4 notes.
Same as the top 40.
What you got in your hairy mailbag there, Rhys?
Well, first up,
Good segue.
why is that the name of it? Like,
Because you sing it really well.
Yeah, because of Harry Mayborn.
Give your hairy
So it's a
mailbag.
hairy mailbag.
Give your hairy mailbag a shake and see what falls out.
oh God. Oh,
So what do we got?
not a fan of this. Okay, Emma Bowie from London on Twitter at Emma_Bowie says, Get Into Gay. You guys have made the 14-year-old gator in me very happy, and my commutes go a lot quicker.
Aw,
Thanks.
that's awesome. We're all still pretty much 14-year-old boys, I guess, so that fits pretty well. That's
Thanks,
awesome.
Emma.
Thank you, Emma.
Thanks, Emma.
Actually, I got a couple of emails. This one from Santos Gonzalez.
Oh, that's a good
oh,
that's a
name.
fantastic
Welcome,
name.
welcome to the Gate
Gonzalez.
family, Santos.
Muy bueno.
With the subject line throwback comments. I don't know what this is, but hey guys, love the show. Just started listening, but it's one of my top 10 podcasts.
All right.
You need to listen to more podcasts.
Only another 9. That's fine.
He only listens to 5. He's saving the other spaces for anything else.
I'm writing in about the episode Bloodlines, where you all discuss the ethics of killing the symbiotes while they're still young, and I wanted to weigh in.
Yeah. Nice.
Daniel was 100% right when he killed the symbiotes. I
Yep.
keep saying symbiotes because that's what he's actually written.
That's
Star Trek
okay.
fan.
He's
He's
a
a
Star
Trekkie.
Trekkie. He's like,
Oh,
Matt.
that's one.
Carter saw them as innocent, young creatures. She is 100% wrong. Daniel saw them for what they truly
thought so,
are.
buddy.
From the second that they are born, they crave power, love to kill, desire to rule, and will do anything to do this.
Can
So even-
I interest you in some Tok'ra, maybe?
yeah. So even as they look at you from their fishbowl before they're taken as hosts, it is born with a fully formed consciousness from minute one, and the only thought of that consciousness is violence. Wow.
Wow.
Thank you, Santos.
Thank
Absolutely.
You.
Hey.
Well done.
Slow clap it out.
I thought, no, I'm with Santos
Team
here.
Santos
100%.
here.
Slay.
Yep. Murder.
Slay those little f***ers.
We got another.
I'm not losing any sleep over that fish bowl, though. But I tell you what, I'm not getting any fish anytime soon. I don't want to see them staring at me like a little primtar, just giving me the evil eye.
Another email from Ash Inca. Okay, I found you guys at about midnight one night. The night before I had to work, I got 2 hours sleep that night, crying from laughing at opening a wormhole to take a dump. You remember that show?
That's probably our best show.
To be honest, we still get giggles on that one when we think about that.
You know what?
Yeah.
When this episode, when Silk was pushing Apophis through, I'm just like, and then he turned around. I thought about the sticking his ass through and taking
Just
a
takes
shit.
a piss on it, like through the wormhole.
Like just sticks his finger up and puts his hand through it, and
Yeah.
then just pulls it back.
So first of all, they say screw you all for wasting so much of their night and not getting them enough sleep. Second of all, holy this is what I've been looking for. Fellow Aussies. Oh, you've got an Aussie here. Brilliant.
yeah.
Stargate
No
full
translation
spoilers.
needed.
No. Only a season and a half in, I caught up in just over a week. Wow. They're listening to our podcast more than you are, Rhys. That's fantastic. I've known about Stargate since about 2009, and I was in year 8 when my dad slipped a disc in his back, and we borrowed my auntie's full 10-season box set, the one with the
Nice.
plastic Stargate on the side.
Can I just say, your auntie is awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is.
Yeah.
And now it's 8 years later, and I weigh too much. No, you don't. There's too much Stargate's never enough, so don't worry about it, Ash. In that shot you were talking about in the Tok'ra when they split the table in half, well, that is your behind-the-scenes stuff, Matty, you brought up.
Yeah,
And they push it back together as well as the dude in camo standing at the desk. There's also a guy squashed in the knee hole of the desk, potentially a Deloise appearance.
Ooh.
So we might have to go back and check that out with Tok'ra Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely, because it does happen more and more throughout the show. It's a great one.
Actually, she's got little bits and pieces of a few episodes. The princess in Touchstone is in Red Dog, and I think she was in ads for Whisker's cat food as well, interacting with a CGI purple cat while at a computer a few years ago.
He
I
was-
remember that ad!
He wasn't wrong when he said he knows too much.
He's got something at season 4 here, but we won't go into that just yet. Really looking forward to One False Step, which is obviously coming up in just a couple of weeks.
I've
wouldn't
had
have
a
thought
couple
so,
of
buddy.
people. I had a couple of people say that to me.
Really?
Actually. Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
That's interesting.
No, sorry, I didn't read it properly. He goes, really looking forward to One False Step, and then in brackets. But seriously, I'm really looking forward to when they start the real story arc from mid-season 3 onwards. Until Touchstone, Ashley. Oh, well, thanks very much, Ashley.
Oh, thanks, Ash.
That's a true fan
Forgot
there.
to mailbag. I better shout out to a couple of Vladimir Ivanov. I hope I've
Vladimir.
pronounced that correctly.
Vladimir.
He shares every
Nostrovia.
single one of our posts. So Vladimir, we really appreciate that. And
He runs
following us.
the like a gate page, like a gate news page
he's
on
the-
Facebook.
The Russian Stargate and Atlantis TVD, I think. I wanna
Cheers,
say.
buddy. Nostrovia.
What he said.
Nostravi.
Nostravi.
That's Czech.
Yeah.
Also, I want to shout out to Mike Crate and all the guys at Gatecast.
Yeah.
For sharing our tweets and liking away. So thank you guys.
Oh, cheers, guys.
All big
Love
one
your work.
happy Stargate community, aren't we? Just
And if you-
sharing the love in its 20th
Hey, if you wanna-
anniversary.
We're a family.
If you're listening and you want to shout out, get onto us. We're more than happy to.
Or if you want a picture of Maddie's mum, let us know.
Absolutely.
Manny's apparently just dishing them out.
I've got doubles.
I got the negative. Yeah.
Yeah, you can drop us a line at getintogate@gmail.com, or if you want to hit us up on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, just simply search at getintogate. And if you are just joining us and you found us, maybe buy one of the reposts from our friends over there at Gatecast, or otherwise, if you have been recommended, Get Into Gate by a friend. You can find all of our podcasts on iTunes and SoundCloud. Join us. We're early days, so we've got plenty more Stargate ahead. And thanks for tuning in. Myself, personally, at Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. Maddie.
At High Pitch Maddie on Instagram.
Brendan.
At the Brendan Gibson.
And Rhys.
I'm at the Flying Gibson.
Until next week when we're talking holiday.
Celebrate.
Celebrate!
I was leaving you there myself, mate.
Left you hanging.
GetIntoGeek.com.